Hi, and welcome to the first show of 2017, January 7th. Wow, I can't speak. Wow, it's been a long time. I will get into that a little bit later. My good friend, the objective centrist Ian, told me he doesn't want to hear any of my personal bullshit up front, so I guess I'll talk about what's been going on at the end of this podcast. Yeah, it is still a podcast, right? Wow. Do I have egg on my face, don't I? For those of you who have stuck around long enough, you of course know that I vehemently, I think that's the right word, said that, and with some gusto and all this other stuff, said that there's no way that Donald Trump could win. I'm just kidding, right? So don't take it too serious, right? But one could say that that our oligarchs were not as sophisticated and as good as the Russian oligarchs. So I guess they got to place their guy. Who knows? But wow. I mean, you know, it's not like I didn't say that Hillary Clinton was the only candidate that the Democrats could pick, and like we all know, that gave Donald Trump a chance to win. So I did say that, but I honestly just did not see it. I didn't see it. I didn't see the Brexit coming. I could have understood a Brexit vote where that rage would have been taken out with a candidate like Bernie Sanders, but I just did not think that Donald Trump was the candidate that could do it. I also didn't know that Hillary Clinton decided not to campaign in two states, Ohio, right, and was one of them, and so I mean, you know, she certainly did everything she possibly could, to help Donald Trump or make it easy for a candidate like Donald Trump. But yeah, I have to admit, I certainly didn't see it coming. Mostly because, I just, there's nothing that Donald Trump is doing. And I mean, again, I wasn't one of these guys that were, getting uberly upset about, the dumb shit that he said, or the vulgar shit that he said, or the racist shit that he said. Mostly because I guess I'm going to make a claim like everybody does. I travel around in real America, amongst real Americans, and even in multi skin-colored groups of Americans. There guys hanging out. There's some pretty salty language. It might not be amongst the safe space craving millennials, but certainly in my generation, or most of it, this wasn't something. Also, and in most cases, and I'm not saying this about Donald Trump. I'm not in his heart. I'm not his friend. I don't know him. But in most cases, because we know that shit is not said in a malignant or in any way. So whatever. Again, yeah. Thank God I didn't make any bets. Like I was going to eat a hat or a tie or drink something disgusting. Damn. I mean, serious, really. Like I'm still kind of in shock that Donald Trump won, right? But I mean, Monday morning quarterbacking or some of all of the stuff that I've certainly talked about in previous podcasts, either what was it called, Two Guys Talking, or when it was just the objective centrist and me and here from Democracy Theater. We were talking, and I've said that before. Like when the Democrats left their traditional voters and started with Bill Clinton to chase the money, the big money, because Democrats became so afraid that they would be outspent and outraised in money. After Bill Clinton won the presidency, and I guess that became just a thing that somehow the Democrats believed that the presidency was the most important of the branches of government. But after I'm rambling a little bit here, but you'll bear with me back. But after Bill Clinton came in and the Democrats started chasing the money and they left their traditional labor roots, and the consequences of Bill Clinton's neoliberal policies, third-way Democrat, really started to trickle down, to the welfare recipients, to the union workers that was screwed. That's part of the setup for Donald Trump, right? Because then after Bill Clinton, we see, oh wow, that wasn't a real Democrat. Al Gore loses. We get George W. war, all kinds of stuff, and then we get, hey, listen, I will raise my hand. President Obama is the first. I've said this before, I think. Excuse me, the first politician that I ever donated to, and I bought into it as well. I mean, I bought in that he was a much more progressive person than what he turned out to be. So then, after 8 years of and so this might be unpopular to say, but this was how I was arguing about Obama, in both as a candidate, when people that were more progressive or as progressive as me but hadn't bought into Obama yet were saying, hey man, listen to what he's saying. I used, and it could be wrong, I don't know, but I used race as an argument. I said, hey, listen, you cannot possibly believe that the first serious African-American candidate for president can come out and talk about redistribution, even if a vast amount of that redistribution would go to poor white people. There's just, and that that was me. I said I believe that there was just minefields that he couldn't, or there was things that he, as an African American candidate, just couldn't go in and say, because start talking about. And I said, listen, so that's why I believe he's going to do the right thing when he gets into office. if this made any sense to you. I think it did. At least it did to me. Fuck. Yeah, I mean, so when it then turns out that Hillary Clinton and the DNC did everything that they possibly could to take the election away from the working class, progressive, labor, anti-establishment candidate, where were people going to go after they had voted for Obama twice and nothing were delivered? And the counter argument to that is, well, they're really not that poor, these people that voted. And it doesn't matter. What, are you going to argue their fear with me? Seriously? You're going to argue that, well, you know, they might be afraid of losing everything, but that fear is just not as important as the fear of somebody that has less and is in worse shape. How dare you? Fucking argue people's fear. That's people's fear. That's their life. People do and react in most cases in context of their life. So, you know, most of I mean, we all know this, right? And it's getting tiresome. It really is just getting tiresome. Yes, Hillary Clinton, you know, I mean, FBI didn't help, Comey didn't help, at least we can all agree on that Russia at least flooded the American media landscape, online landscape, with a bunch of, I guess, what we today call fake news, what I would call psychological operations, or you know, from a foreign government. You know, none of that helped. I think maybe the letter. I mean, she didn't campaign in 2 states, right? So, I mean, stop. She's just a horrible candidate, and the Democratic Party has, or at least the people that are at the top of it, has become a horrible political party that serves nobody except a small group of elites. None of them have any idea of what it's like for most Americans in the middle and lower middle class, and they have no answer, and they have had no answer for decades to the structural unemployment that we have, and a structural unemployment that is getting worse and worse and worse. I mean, did you at any point hear anybody? Everybody was talking about jobs, right? You know, but you know, Trump was talking about jobs. Well, Hillary Clinton wasn't talking so much about jobs. She was talking about, I don't fucking know what she was talking about. But nobody was talking about automation and what are we going to do about that? Nobody was talking about the massive amount of people that will lose their job due to automation in the next 10, 15, 20 years. Right? So, I mean, there's a million reasons why Hillary Clinton lost. Most of them, of course, have to do with her shitty campaign, but certainly it also had to do with the consequences of the neoliberal policies that her husband implemented, that was continued and put on steroids by Obama, and all the broken promises. I mean, think about the unions for one, right? You had the union members being weakened during the Clinton years, and then you have the entire labor union breaking the bank for Obama because they wanted card check, and I'm not entirely sure whether it was the public option or card check that went out the door first. Just like, although I do think Obama, unlike Trump, was sworn in before he broke his first promises, but certainly I think it was card check that was the first thing that just, I'm sorry guys, I know you spend all your hard-earned union dues on getting me elected, and I know it was because of one single solitary issue, but hey, I'm in here now, and hey, go fuck yourself, right? So, yeah, I know I'm off a little bit here, but that so that the fact that the union came out so hard for Hillary Clinton and stomped out any Sanders support, to me, just it's no wonder, that Donald Trump won, right? And I think it's worth for me to say, one of my friends, he said to me, hey, listen, it's hard to have these debates with you because I think that, you hate Donald Trump. And I have to say, I just don't. I don't hate Donald Trump. I have to say that I despise what he represents, and before you get it all, your panties in a knot or in a bunch, just to be clear, what he represents to me is, hey, imagine this. You have a close family of friends, somebody. I don't want to make it your person, but somebody dies, right? And they were living in New York in the 80s, and they were living in Manhattan, and they were making money, and they were having a good time, and they moved out to the island, bought a house, maybe in the Hampton, whatever. Either way, they pass away. You go down into the basement, and over in the corner, there's something under a sheet. You go over and you pull off the sheet, and what you see is the ugliest, gaudiest thing from the 80s, and that to me is what he represents. He represents the Gordon Gekko, greed is good kind of sentiment out of the 80s. My family is from New York. I've known about Trump for a long time. I'm not one of the people who watched The Apprentice or anything like that, so I don't have that relationship with him. So I just have the relationship of him being a figure in the New York press. So when I was visiting from Europe, he was somebody that I would see and hear about and see what he was all about, right? So that's what he represents to me. He represents that really gaudy style that rich people or wealthy people had, especially in New York in the 80s. Yeah, it wasn't all that pretty. I lived through it, and it wasn't. Some of it was, but nah. So that's what he represents to me. So yeah. No, I don't know the man. I don't think that I don't. I'm not one of those people that thinks that he harbors an overtly racist core or belief. He has some racist things in him, but I think that's mostly a generational and just a lack of having to live in the world that most the rest of us have to live in. So he can get away with things for a longer time, or nobody, hey, listen, talks to him and say, hey, man, that doesn't work like that anymore. So I don't think that. I don't think. I really wish we should get away from that. We should get away from this hyperbolic language about our opponent. That I think that would help. I also think that these constant attack on Trump is having an absolute devastating effect on future elections. I don't know why you think that other humans are going to react any differently than you do, and people tend to, even if they make what they could see might be a dumb decision, or they made something, did something, they tend to coalesce around their leaders or their group or their tribe, especially when they feel like they are under attack. So if you haven't paid attention, that's kind of what Donald Trump has been playing along all the time, is say, hey, we're under attack. And of course, the media has obliged him with some really just over the top kind of attacks on the person, especially when you contrast that the media was hammering him for words that they wouldn't kind of point out was already happening to a largest extent because of policies enacted by Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, not Donald Trump, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I certainly think that the best thing that anybody can do, especially the people that certainly didn't want Hillary Clinton and didn't want Donald Trump, for those of us who can say probably, just like we could say to the Hillary Clinton supporters, hey, we told you so, she was going to lose, we could also probably in not too far distance say, hey, listen, we told you so, right? He's not He's not the person that you think he is. But if you want somebody to listen to you, you can't be screaming at them or their leader, all these epithets of Nazi and Hitler and all this other stuff, because they're just not going to fucking listen then. Right? So, I mean, look, if it's just for, if you're yelling at people and screaming Nazi as Trump and you're writing your articles and you're doing all these things that, even if they're true, but you're using hyperbolic language, then I'm going to have to put you in the fucking camp of people that that are not helping. You're not trying to move anything forward. You're not trying to create understanding. You're not trying to build bridges that people can walk across without, having to duck a barrage of angry language thrown towards the side that they might be leaving for whatever reason. Because that's just not going to happen. I really think it is time to dial it down. I really do think it's time for the adults to step up and step into the room and to really, really try to get out of all of us, me included, out of our bubbles. I keep getting mad. It doesn't matter whether it's the Islamophobes in Europe or over here or anywhere else. After you get through talking about, hey, listen, these refugees, it could be all good. Even if you don't get understanding about that, then it gets, what do you want these people to do? Where the fuck are they going to go? We're on a little rock floating around in space. There's no fucking where to go. So it might be time for some cooperation. And that's just not going to happen if we're screaming at each other. It's not going to happen if we are yelling at the other person's leader. And it's certainly not going to happen if you or I or anybody else believe, hey man, I know exactly what's right. But now I'm really going off on a tangent. I don't think I had at all planned on talking about that, but I guess it happens. One of the things, so I guess I shouldn't have laughed just before starting this subject, but so yesterday there was a shooting in Fort Lauderdale. I haven't yet seen on any right-wing website, and it's not like I go to that many, and I don't want to sound like I do, but I haven't read anywhere on Twitter or anywhere that anybody is saying that this is a false flag operation, which we hear from the lunatic out of Texas. And other the Tin Hat Brigade members. Hey, I have a tin hat too. I'll tell you about it later. So what I think will be interesting to see is, first of all, when the first terror attack happens in under the Trump administration, will the same people that always called every terrorist attack, every mass shooting in America a false flag operation, because Obama's coming for your guns? Sorry for the yelling. I have no idea how this is going to work. I wonder what they're going to say when it happens during the Trump administration, and I wonder what the Trump administration will use a terror attack for. Will they use it to push through their Muslim registry? Will they push through some gun regulation? I mean, so it'll be interesting to see, and it will be interesting to see how consistent people are. You know, that's certainly something I'm going to be looking at. Yeah, what else is there to say? Not much. I don't know. You want to hear my tin hat theory? This is my tin hat theory about the election. You want to hear it? I have one. Here's my tin hat. So put on your tin hat. Here's my tin hat theory, or my conspiracy theory. So, and this is a worst case scenario, right? Worst case scenario is, so worst case scenario is that Donald Trump or people inside his administration are what I guess we used to call moles, like turned, right? So they were turned by I don't know what they're called today, what the acronym is, but it used to be the KGB, right? Ooh, tin hat. Yeah, I know. Listen, pay attention. Don't hang up. No, serious. Pay attention here. So here's how I can put it together, right? First of all, I don't know about you. I don't know who will be listening to this, and how old you are. But I'm a dad, and I'm a dad of two very, very beautiful young little baby and a young woman. And never in my life ever would I say, if that wasn't my daughter, I'd, F her, right? I can't even say, and I use that word frequently. I think I've done it. I use it so frequently I don't even hear it. And I couldn't say it in that sentence, right? But he could freely. Now, I'm not saying he did. I'm not saying he's a pedophile or anything like that. I don't even think it's like that. I think it's much, 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 much simpler than that. I think that Donald Trump, like myself, like younger women. That's how it is. Some people do, some don't. I think that he does. I think that Bill Clinton does the same. So we also know that Bill Clinton and Donald Trump hangs out a lot, or they used to. They're friends, right? So, birds of a feather flock together. On the right, there's this tin hat story running around with Bill Clinton being on some pedophile person's flight that has some sex ring. I think that all ended up in being some Pizzagate something. But so, nothing there. But it's not like we don't know that Bill Clinton has a taste for all kinds of women. So let's say for a second that Trump, as we know, has done extensive travels to Russia, especially in the 80s, back when it was KGB. Just to be clear, if you don't know this yet, the KGB has infiltrated the highest levels of government, both in France and in Great Britain, through the MI6, I think it was, MI5, MI6, but up to the highest levels of government The way that they did it, they went to the universities. Back in the day, they got in, they figured out who had some sexual peccadillos, and then they blackmailed them. First, got them hooked and blackmailed them. And I'm sure they also had straight sympathizers, right? So it's not out of the question. It happens all the time. Let's say that there's. We also know that Donald Trump hangs out with people of ill repute. Let's just call them that in Russia, right? So. Is it crazy to think that there was a really, really fun, massively fun party with lots of booze and lots of girls and women and drugs and whatever you want, right? And let's just imagine that Trump is looking around and he's like, oh, wow. They look really young. Hey, seriously, dude? They look a little young. No, they're all 18. No worry, man. Have fun. Right? Take some of these girls in, has a really good time. Turns out they're not. Now, he can claim all that he wants, that he asked and whatever, but that's just not how that works. Right? Are you saying that Donald Trump is not? I don't want to call it. For you and for me, ordinary people that are not that do not have fuck off money. To us, it looks reckless. To him, it's just. Well, he doesn't have to deal with some of the things that we have to deal with in our lives, and therefore doesn't look at things the same way that we do. So you can call it reckless or not. Let's just use the word reckless because it describes actions. So Trump is a reckless person. I believe he could have easily got himself into some trouble, and now there is some dirt on him. You're really telling me that's 100% out of the question. We're just speculating, and if you're a Trump supporter and you have been and you frequent Breitbart media, and you're going to come at me and say that that's some wild speculation, then you know what? You know what you can do? Yeah, exactly. That's what you can do. So that's my tin hat theory. I know. I don't think it's. I mean, it's based in previous actions by the KGB. It's based on the facts that he did travel extensively to Russia, on the fact that he is extensively held up financially. His businesses are held up financially by Russian. I'm going to say banks. I think some of it is private finance, but I'm not sure about that. But I certainly know Russian banks. So I don't think it's that far-fetched. It's certainly not any more far-fetched than some of the tremendous speculations I've heard about the Clintons and the Obamas from my fellow Americans that believe political things to the right of me. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that was just a stream of a bunch of words. I don't even know if it made any sense. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a position, by the way, unofficial position. I have no doubt that Russia interfered in our election. Of course they did, just like we interfere in elections all over the world. That's not an argument to not, that we do it is not an argument for me to not figure out what Russia did and how they did it. The Democrats and all the people screaming about the rigging of the election by breaking into the computers, and I think about 50% of Democrats or Hillary supporters think that. That just shows you how fucking dumb and gullible Americans are. And yeah, you know what? You're not any fucking better on the right. Everybody just wants to believe the worst thing they possibly can find about their opponent, right? That's how it is. Give me the worst thing you can say, and I will fucking swallow that raw. And you can damn near have pictures of the person that I support doing something illegal, and I will still support them. I don't fucking get it. That I don't get. I just don't get how we have ended up in an area where we have become so partisan. That's for sure. I do have, I also, again, I'm a supporter of WikiLeaks. I'm a supporter of open government. I want information on all government. I wish we could have a situation like they had in der Deutsche Bundesrepublik. Back when the wall fell and everybody could go in and see all the Stasi documents. I would love to have that kind of situation here in America, but that's not likely. I also I support a pardon for a presidential pardon for Manning and for Snowden. Certainly for Manning, but yeah, also Snowden. But I do have some questions about the way that the documents on the Podesta emails were released. Again, I don't particularly care about how WikiLeaks received them. What I care about is the way that they were released. To me, it seems like they were released in a manner to hurt Hillary Clinton the most. They did release the first dump came right before the convention, but not so early that it had time to change the outcome of the Democratic primary. Now he can claim that he didn't have the documents or it took that time to go through it. I am done trusting anybody. Everybody in this whole thing has a vested interest. Assange has motives. The Democrats have motive. The intelligence services have motive. Russia obviously have motive. That just seems, it just seems that the document dump was done in a way to have the most impact directly on, like, just to be like totally hurtful to Hillary Clinton, but also in a way to make sure that it didn't help Bernie Sanders become the nominee. So that's my question to WikiLeaks. It does bother me. I also don't believe I didn't hear this firsthand, but I've been told that he said that the reason that he doesn't have any documents on Donald Trump, on Putin, is because they can't get to WikiLeaks from Russia, and there are other outlets there. But, to be clear, I haven't seen anything. The only thing I ever saw that came close to smelling at Putin was the Panama Papers, right? And the Panama Papers did not come through WikiLeaks, right? We agree on that. So, again, I support WikiLeaks in many of those things that they do, but I no longer, just take anything from them at face value. And that doesn't mean that I believe that when their documents are coming that they somehow are fake. I am now having to care about their motive. I have to care about what they're trying to do, because it seems to me anyway to be more than just to be more than just an organization that shines light on corruption and exposes government malfeasance. I also, and this here I'm wrong. I'm not a master investigator or searcher on the internet, but on WikiLeaks I went and I looked up Putin and Russia, and the only documents that came up were the only documents that I found, to be more precise, were American documents about Putin and Russia. There was no Russian documents. There was no dump from Russia. So that, of course, is something that I also pay attention to. I don't think that WikiLeaks have had a substantial trove of documents that has not been about people or countries that you could say were a nuisance or obstacles to Russia and Putin's agenda. So there's a couple of things. This total naive Cold War thing, and the Hillary people and whatever, wanting to restart the Cold War is nonsense. The Cold War never went away. It was just the American public's eye were moved away from that to start looking at the Middle East. But the Cold War never ended. What the fuck do you think we were moving our bases closer to the Russian border for? What do you think we were snapping up former Eastern European countries and making them members of NATO? And tell me the Cold War stopped. I mean, you have to be a special kind of fucking stupid to believe that. Seriously, you do. Just a special kind of stupid. So, and so, yeah, that's it. I think we're going to call it quits. I said I was going to say a little bit about what's been going on. So I have no idea how the sound is, but I bought this handheld device recording thing. That's not my iPhone. Because I wanted to use this, because in my jobs, I have done a lot of the work that I've done has been on phones, and regardless of where and what I was doing, I always had a headset on, and I would be walking back and forth as I would be talking to clients or to whoever. It's the old motion creates emotion kind of thing. As for those of you who have followed along before, I have been suffering from depression and some other stuff. It's been a year of self-discovery, and I don't mind. I would love to talk more about it, but that would be when the podcast hopefully becomes a reality with a co-host and all that stuff. But it was really getting frustrating for me not to do anything, and I just couldn't see myself sitting in front of the computer and saying, what the hell do you need to look at my ugly mug for anyway, until it's a live show, and I might just put a picture of I don't know, something pretty, not me, but who knows. So that I don't know what the sound is going to be like, but just to get something posted, since it's been so long, I don't think I'm going to do much editing on this. What else happened? So then the doctor put me on some it's called Wellbutrin, and as it was starting to work, I put it up to, you're supposed to take 2 pills and whatever, and then my fucking ears started ringing like there was no tomorrow. It's just unbelievable. It's still kind of doing it, but I'm off it now for 2 days. It wasn't. I was starting to feel better. I was actually, because it also deals a little bit with the ADD, I was starting to fucking sit and finish stuff, and I was getting closer and closer to this point here, and actually feeling it in some kind of organized way, and starting to feel better. So even with a slight ringing in the ear, I was going to, fuck it, I'll just keep taking it. I went online again to read up on it, and instead of just reading, one of the symptoms is ringing in the ear, then actually reading below that and going into some depth about that, it turns out that it's not just going to go away. It could actually become permanent, and that's, I was willing to take a little bit of ringing if I could just start to feel a little bit better, and to start doing more than just the things that keeps me alive, work and eat, and that's it. It's been rough since last time. And now I really honestly don't know. I have the coolest doctor, I have to say. I called in, I told her, and she called me back yesterday, and I told her what was up and with the ringing, and she was like, well, Rich, I know that you're not opposed to alternative methods. So have you seen all the articles that have come out lately about the research into psilocybin? Have you ever thought about microdosing? And obviously that was one of the things that I was looking into, instead of taking the Wellbutrin, but then you'll have to find somebody that has that. I was told a doctor in Southern California is doing it, so I'm going to try to look into that. But that is kind of where it's at, if you give a shit. Other than that, I really am wanting to get this thing going, and hopefully with a little help and whatever, I can snap out of this and start to feel better, and then we can all get a podcast going that either becomes daily or at least weekly, and we can start to hang out much more frequently. I would certainly like that. I hope that you would like that too. Other than that, I have like I said, I have a baby daughter now that's come out, that has come out. So lots to talk about. Hopefully, much more organized thoughts. Hey, if I could speak English, like I say, I would be good at this. Lots more to talk about in the future, I hope, and certainly I will do my best to make it more frequent. And a ton of people I'd like to talk to. I have to say, there's a lot of Russian experts that are creeping in. I never thought that my Russian history classes would come to any use, and if I was back in Denmark, I guarantee you that my college books are in my mom's basement still, so I could probably find them. But yeah, Russia again, huh, peeps? That is, I guess that's what we're going to be talking about. Yep, that is the podcast for this January. What was it, 7th today? I hope you have had a good and prosperous 2016, and I wish you the same for 2017. Really is time. It is time, I think, for all of us to start having conversations that bring us together and move the ball forward instead of just standing and stomping our feet and believing that we know everything. But what the fuck do I know? I know shite! Have a fantastic rest of your weekend. I'm hoping I'm getting this up today. And yeah, I will see you soon. Thanks. Bye.